Good evening, San Diego. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis, and thank you for tuning in for your CBS 8 Plus weather update. Let's talk about that update because, we got some hot temperatures that are going to be in the works for this weekend, and then by next week, those temperatures start to slip just a little bit more. Another thing that's also happening right now is the cloud cover that you're seeing out there. And so we are seeing the clouds. It's mainly if you're closer towards the coast that you are seeing that as the marine layer starts to roll right back in. We're going to have it extend about 10 miles inland as we go from tonight through tomorrow morning, and then it quickly evaporates by tomorrow morning, and that allows our temperatures to start to warm up yet again. So that marine layer more favorable across coastal communities, and as mentioned, extending about 10 miles inland. Next week, a little bit deeper, and so that would extend a little bit more towards inland areas. We also have that high surf that's still along our coastline, so still high for today, peaked yesterday as well as today, but it does look to subside over the weekend. Also hot temperatures. The entire county is under a weather alert when it does come to the heat. Even hotter temperatures to kick off the weekend, some of the hottest temperatures so far this summer for some areas of Southern California, and we're seeing that more favorable for the mountains and the desert, and that's also where we're going to look for record temperatures for this weekend, especially on Saturday. We're expecting the peak of that heat on Saturday, and then temperatures backing away by next week. We go right back into widespread 70s for daytime highs for the coast, also talking about widespread 80s returning across the inland valleys. For your overnight lows, we are looking at 70s and upper 60s across the mountains. You also have 73 degrees for Alpine, 71 degrees, that's going to be for Campo, 82 degrees for Borrego Springs. So we do get a drop in temperatures, but still a little warmer than usual for this time of the year. The exception be closer towards the coast, still with some 60s out there, but you're also looking at 71 degrees for Encinitas, also 71 degrees, that'll be for downtown. We get to our daytime highs for tomorrow. Lots of 90s popping up, and I've been seeing the forecast model change back and forth over the last couple of hours. So initially it was showing that Julian would be at 100 degrees for tomorrow. Now it's showing 97. We could see that change again by tomorrow, and that is with that big ridge of high pressure making its way back towards the west. And so potentially could even see a hotter temperature than 97 degrees. So something to be mindful of, and we'll continue to monitor, especially if we do have that record heat. Of course, we would let you know, but a lot of those 90s, just mainly east of the 15 for tomorrow. You also have 101 degrees. That's going to be for Campo. 110s going strong in the desert. 117 for Borrego Springs tomorrow. We have 85 degrees expected for Chula Vista. That is under the heat advisory. 86 degrees for Vista. You have those 80s right there along the North County coastline, and also 81 degrees that is going to be for downtown. So we are completely, all areas of San Diego County under a heat alert. That went into effect at 10 a.m. this morning for the inland valleys as well as for the coast, near and along the coast. And so we're still looking at those alerts continuing all the way until Sunday at 8 p.m. That also includes the extreme heat warning that is in effect, and that is for the mountains. So you have the extreme heat warning, everything that you see in that fuchsia color. But you also might notice a different time, and that's pointing towards the desert. The desert looks to hold on to those 110s for daytime highs, that area of high pressure still around. So on Monday is when we're expecting it to expire, not Sunday anymore. Initially, it was Sunday for the entire county, but now we're talking about Monday. That's going to be for the desert. So still with the 110s by Monday, and then backing away from that territory as we go throughout the week for next week. And here's why. Area of high pressure, it has moved more so towards the west, and that's because the area of low pressure moved in from Canada and is dipping that jet stream right there over the Great Plains. So that's going to be moving towards the east, and so they're going to have that area of low pressure over the Great Plains, then moving towards the Midwest, and then more so towards the northeast. Well, that is pushing this ridge back across the west. As a result, those hot temperatures have arrived, and they will continue to climb into tomorrow. Then we start to back away from that heat, and that's going to be over the weekend. Still pretty hot as we go into Monday, but you can see that that area of high pressure shifts a little bit more towards the east. So that allows that heat to let up. Because that high is going to be so close and right over us, that's why we're talking about the hottest temperatures for tomorrow. We still have the elevated surf right along our coastline, those indirect impacts from the passage of Genevieve that is still a tropical system in the eastern Pacific. This will continue with a high surf advisory all the way until 5 p.m. for tomorrow with those large breaking waves. Still the highest for those south and southwest facing beaches. You got those sets up to about 7 feet, so a little bit of an adjustment coming down. Yesterday was 9 feet, now you're talking 7. And then we have that surf subsiding over the weekend. Still the strong rip currents being present out there along the coastline. If you're going to be out in the water, if you're thinking about getting in, first of all, I just want to say know your limit. If you're not a skilled swimmer or surfer, you're not advised to be in the water. But it's always good to check in with lifeguards. They can tell you where some of those trouble spots are at the beach that you select to go to. So just want to kind of keep you safe. They've been very busy, and also they will be the ones that kind of tell you maybe stay away from this particular area. We've been seeing that in Oceanside, especially with a lot of people trying to surf a little bit closer towards the pier. Not the best idea right now. When we look at another alert that's in effect, that's going to wrap up tonight, late tonight into tomorrow morning, that is the coastal flood advisory. So we're getting away from that full moon phase. We had that full moon on Wednesday, create that extra pull coupled with this high surf. And so that extra pull will continue, but it's a little less than about 6 feet for tonight. So 5.6 feet, that will be at 10:41. That's the time frame that we could see that flooding. So that's why we still have the coastal flood advisory in effect, but that will expire before we get into the rest of the weekend. So late night tonight, early tomorrow morning. We still have Genevieve as a tropical storm. It gained that status. That was just yesterday that it started to weaken a little bit more late last night. Well, this tropical storm is still moving towards the west-northwest at about 15 miles per hour. Maximum sustained wind speeds are at 50 miles per hour. It is moving over much cooler waters and will continue on that path, and then it lifts a little bit more, and that's going to be towards the north. As that happens, it interacts with even cooler waters, and so that allows it to become a post-tropical system as we go into the start of next week. When we look at our extended forecast getting us into next week, we still have some 80s for daytime highs for the coast by Monday. But as of tonight, we still have it going all the way until 8 p.m. on Sunday when it comes to the heat alert for the coast. So we'll see if there are any changes with that, but most likely not. So you do have a few spots that will be into the low 80s, and that's going to be on Monday. Then we get right back into widespread 70s starting on Tuesday all the way into Friday of next week. For the inland valleys, you have those 90s for daytime highs going strong this weekend, but then you're back into the 80s. So the upper 80s will be around throughout much of the week, and then we have 88 degrees, and that's going to be by Friday of next week. Some added high clouds also moving in because that area of high pressure moving a little bit more towards the east is also going to tap into a little monsoonal moisture. So that's also going to be another factor, is still that elevated humidity. You have the weather impact alert days for the mountains for this weekend. You have temperatures that slip a little bit, and still with those widespread 90s all the way into next week, low 90s returning by Wednesday. You have the 1 teens that carry into Monday. That's why the National Weather Service did extend that extreme heat warning for the desert through Monday at 8 p.m. But then we get out of the 1 teens and go down to something a little bit more seasonal. Obviously, it's not a big drop in temperatures, but it's getting away from those dangerously hot ones in the 1 teens, going to about 107, looking to be the coolest day next week on Thursday, and that will be for the desert. I hope you have a great weekend, and thanks for tuning in.